Hi, everyone. Today, I want to talk to you about something that is really, really challenging for most of us in this 21st century world that we live in, and that is the importance of rest. And also, in the importance of rest, it's also what is makes good rest possible? What is it? How do we achieve it? And is it even worth really anything truly? And first, the answer to that question is a resounding yes. We can't really do anything well unless we rest occasionally. And if we don't rest occasionally, we become, and we've seen examples of this in our own lives, we can become very burned out, both with work, exercise, or anything else. We can be basically become injured, both mentally and physically too. So rest is an intrinsic practice. But today, I also want to talk to you about how this practice can be something so essential that it might just be the only practice that is ever needed. So, to talk about rest and what makes good rest, spiritual masters have described the natural peacefulness and rest of the universe, even in moments of volatility, in moments of crazy weather, which we've been experiencing in these parts recently. We had a tornado go through an adjacent town yesterday in a freak storm. And now it's sunny outside, and so maybe today is time to rest. So the great masters have described to us this restful, peaceful state that is intrinsic to the world around us. But because of the volatile world around us and our fixation to it, we lose touch of that all the time. We are constantly being thrown from one thing to another thing, from one activity to another. And especially in this time of year, the holiday time of year, that can feel like at a fever pitch. The rate of things happening, the rate of change in our own lives and our to do lists can become so overwhelming and burdensome that we are being whipped by our own process of living. Our very living can feel as if it is something that we are enslaved by. And at times, if we don't feel totally enslaved by it, it's something that we can feel very exhausted and really excited for it to be all over. So, how do we rest in that kind of situation? And also, what is this rest that we're talking about? What is the distinctions of these various types of rest? I think the beginning type of rest that we mostly think about and that everyone knows about is sleep and relaxation moments. But some of these relaxation moments, as well as sleep, can be not exactly something that is helpful to us. And one of the reasons why that occasionally can be the case is because we are in a habit of unmindfulness around uh, this volatile cycle and then getting rest from the volatile cycle out of exhaustion and then going back into this volatile cycle and rinsing and repeating that. And the challenge with that cycle is that it's a cycle of unawareness. Our restful state that we have, like sleep, for example, for many of us, can be very unmindful and unaware. We are so excited to put our heads on the pillow. We're so excited to veg out on the couch for that 15 minutes a day or whatever that is. That at that moment that we rest our heads on the pillow or we plunk our bodies down on the couch, we suddenly fall prey to this unmindfulness and are then swept away by other types of very, very subtle fixations, for example, and very subtle habits. For example, we might scroll on our phones, we might check the news, we might engage in activities that are not really helpful to us. And that also can be mental activities. Maybe we'll throw on some TV shows, and these TV shows depict a world of suffering or depict a world that is complicated, and we passively consume that and consume the information on our phones and even books and things like that in a way that can be unmindful. We think that it's relaxation, but really we're very subtly adding to this view of wrongness, a view of exhaustion, where we are also following others in their practices of activities, exhausting activities. So, for many of us, we get into this cycle of we wake up in the morning and we start our activities, and we don't stop our activities until we finally get that 15 minutes of rest. And then that quote rest, we then follow, like watch content, for example, or read about other people doing other activities. And then we, might read the news or whatever, and all of that is still activities. It's caught up in this modality of people trying to fix the world around them, or maybe not trying to fix the world around them, but causing problems for the world around them. And we're following all of that mentally. So in that mode, we don't necessarily get true rest. And then afterwards, we fall asleep. And as we're falling asleep, we think, oh, finally, thank goodness, I can finally sleep. And as we sleep, we drift away into unconsciousness, unawareness, and then oftentimes are pulled in these very subtle dream states that then can whip us around too. Some of us have nightmares often, some of us have even night terrors, others just have restless sleep or feelings of discomfort while they sleep. I can't find a comfortable position, I have to roll and turn over. All of this is an indication of a mind and a mental state that isn't resting, that hasn't actually found true rest. So, what is true rest, and how can we really achieve that? And also, what is the point to do so? So, true rest that I will be describing here is dropping everything instantly. Um, and dropping everything instantly doesn't have to be something that is done while we sleep. It doesn't have to be something that is even done on a meditation cushion or on a couch. It's something that can happen all the time in circumstances where we find ourselves very overwhelmed. And it can be very momentary. We can mentally, as we take a deep breath, remember mindfully, create a mindfulness practice to remember to just drop everything. Now, what does that really mean? That sounds pretty heady, potentially, or it just sounds like um, everything. That's a lot. What is everything? Really, what I'm talking about in dropping everything is making a habit of letting go of all of our to-do lists, all of our fixations, and also all of the current momentary activity that we're doing, just taking a break. That doesn't have to be a 5-minute break, it doesn't have to be a 10-minute break, it doesn't have to be any length of time, it can be momentary. But in that taking a break, we pause, we stop what we're doing. If we're actively running around or driving around, pull over, for example, or once we're to a place where we want to be, to take a moment before we exit the vehicle, for example, or if we're in the midst of doing something hands-on or at work, we just pull ourselves back and we put our hands on our desk, our hands on our legs, and we just relax. We relax our entire body. We start at our heads, we move down, and we just relax all of our muscles. And as we relax all of our muscles, we also notice our thoughts. Our thoughts may even be caught up with the activities that we're doing, and we allow those to dissipate. We invite them to drop out of reality. Just, they're not important to us at this moment. We invite them to dissolve. We invite all of this personhood to dissolve, this me. My name is Chris. In that situation, Chris, whoever that is, can go. Whatever wants that person has can go. The fixation to what I want to become or my aspirations for the day can go. Even the momentary needs of others that are fixated to, like I have to achieve that or else the world will break, that too, gone. That can leave now as well. So everything that clouds the mind, that causes us to be super engaged in trying to fix and change the world, we invite to depart. And in inviting to depart, we just relax. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And allow everything to just dissolve. If it doesn't dissolve, be as it is, for it not to have to be engaged in right this moment. Doesn't need to be engaged while we do this momentary break, this momentary rest. And we just pause. This is the type of rest that we can do. We make a habit, and this is some of the benefits. Why would we want to do that? That sounds, someone even could say, that sounds dangerous when I'm in the middle of a task. Well, probably pick our times to do it, but we all have these moments. But oftentimes, what we're doing is rather than really resting, we jump into something that we think is going to soothe us in some way. Some of us have, we might want to have a glass of wine, or might want to watch a fun show, or might want to play a game. All of that. That's okay, but it's not real rest. It's not the kinds of rest that really allows us to recover from all of our fixation to the world around us. The only thing that can allow us to recover is to truly let it all go momentarily, to allow everything to go. And what we'll see when we do that is that everything is as it is. It's not like Chris left. I mean, I'm still here talking, but the fixation, the gripping has relaxed. All of the muscles have relaxed. All of the mental also muscles, quotes, air quotes around that. But all of that feeling of tension is relaxed, gone. And that state that we are in when we're in a break is very peaceful and also not unaware. We can be very aware of suddenly the kinds of things that are really hard for us to let go. We can watch that. As we let go, we might find that there's something that's very, very challenging for us to let go. And whatever that is, is the thing that is truly burdening us day in and day out and causing us so much suffering because we're not ever taking a break from it. We're not ever relaxing away from it. So it's really leading us rather than our awareness leading us. So the benefits are really to be empowered in our awareness mind. Our awareness will be empowered by taking these breaks on a micro level. If you can take bigger breaks, you might find that that's very helpful too. For example, if you watch a show or you play a game or you like to go to sleep early sometimes or whatever that is for you, that during that time maybe spend 10% of it instead of doing the activity that you feel is soothing you know for you, do this. Just rest. Rest in wherever you are. And it doesn't have to be sitting straight up, although I think that is helpful. There is a benefit in sitting straight up just in terms of the wind movement of the lungs can be more natural versus sometimes lying down or but whatever is most comfortable to you, start there. And it could just be lying down, but don't fall asleep. You might feel very relaxed and want to fall asleep, but and that's totally okay, and you can do that. You can fall asleep, but don't count that falling asleep time as true rest because you aren't aware when you're asleep, generally speaking. So rest, if you're laying down or wherever you are, rest. Take this time to relax. And then see what challenging parts of yourself don't like to be let go of. And then just recognize that. Oh, that's an interesting part. For example, it might be that right now during the holiday season you have a huge task list. And it's really hard for you to take this break. That's the thing. Actually, taking the break is the thing. Any break, even a TV break, is hard right now. That's totally okay. But once we become aware of that through this exercise of really deep, restful moments, we can see that more clearly. And then in seeing it, what we'll find is that's what allows it to release. When we have muscles, for example, that are very tense, it's sort of like always in the back of our minds, but only in looking at the muscles and then relaxing them. Can they relax? I mean, it's pretty obvious in a way, but when we're caught up in things, we're actually not engaging directly with these muscles. We're directly engaged with some tasks. And these tasks oftentimes are creating that tension. These to-do lists, these things that we think are very, very important to us are creating this tension and not ever allowing us to experience true relaxation. And so once we gain this practice and we start to practice this more, at that point, we'll start to notice the actual essential quality of this restful state. That this restful state is actually the essential thing of everything. How the great masters described it, that everything is actually this restful state. this restful, calm nature is the essential nature, even when there's the tension. But the tension, because we're fixated to all of these various things and the tension itself, we can't see the subtlety of the calm nature. The calm nature is much more subtle and harder to see when we are in states of fixation. And because of that, we lose confidence day in and day out that everything is okay. Everything is calm, actually, in its essence. And because we forget that day in and day out, we get more and more tight, more and more afraid, more and more upset, and caught up in fear that if we don't finish the various things, or we don't make everything perfect, or we don't fulfill whatever our desires are or aspirations are, that everything will be wrong. But when we check in every now and again with everything as it is, which is letting go, just really allowing ourselves to rest, releasing all of our tension, doing body scan and releasing all of our muscles and allowing them to be and whatever they are and just allowing them to release, we suddenly can see that everything is okay. The nature of things is perfectly wonderful. It's as it is. Doesn't need any input from us. It never has needed input from us. We're released from our obligations to try and fix the world. We don't have to fix the world. The world is already perfect. But we can't see that. We can't see that unless we make a habit of taking a true, deep break and resting in awareness. Thank you so much for listening. I wish you all very deep rest during this holiday time, that you might find moments where you can truly access the essential nature of things, which is calm and relieving of all of our own fixation and suffering naturally, and that you experience that deep within your hearts, deep within your minds, and gain confidence that no matter what you're going through, no matter what kind of tasks we have, no matter what kind of obligations we feel are pulling us and whipping us around, that everything is going to be okay, that our essential natures and the world's essential natures is this deep rest, and we can access it and be empowered by it so that we can get through some of these challenging times, challenging moments in our lives. I really, really hope that for you. And if you'd like to leave a comment, talk about what you're going through, talk about this practice, putting it into practice, we'd love to chat with you as well. And also, I know there's others too that would like to really resonate with your perspectives, because we're all different and we all have different nuances that also help others who are different and also similar to us. So thank you so much again. Until next time, be well.